Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this lovely, where am I here? I'm like amazed by the color of the beads. I can't think straight. I'm going to show you how to make this lovely bracelet. So this is using flat chenille, but with a twist, and I call it curved flat chenille. So let's take a look. This is the bracelet, and actually we can like pop those back up here. So this is, I've done this in a different video using cube beads instead of cylinder beads. And I thought with the new Cylin bead, let's try doing this. And look at what happened. So when I did it with the cube bead, this is what it looks like. This is just a sample, but this is what it looks like. So it's a lot wider, but these here, if the idea is you use flat chenille, when you use flat chenille or you make flat chenille, you use two different size beads. And for this here, I use the same size beads. So these are all 11.0C beads of the Cylin beads. So I made the gold one. And I actually just did a video starting the silver one to show you, but I found it was hard to see the silver, so I thought I'd try the orange. Hopefully we'll get a better result with the orange and using just metallic gold beads to match it. These are both 11.0s, so these are 11.0s, these are 11.0s, and that's what creates this incredible, like, it almost looks like a bangle. So this is the full view. When you start, it is a bit flat, and on this one here, let me tilt this a bit so you can see it a little better and enlarge this. I didn't put enough tension on this section here, but as you can see on this one, it holds the shape really well. So, and I just attached one of these clasps. So I think I will put the links to this video so that you can, if you can't see exactly what I'm showing you because they are smaller beads. On this one, it's a little bigger, so you can see it a little better. It's the same result, only, like I said, it's narrow. And also it's just, the other thing is some people have problems with flat chenille, and I did. So I went through all the videos I could find on YouTube, and I figured out a way to do the flat chenille and to explain it in a way that you could do it. So you can take a look at my flat chenille videos as well, so that'll help. But yeah, so I just put a slider clasp and these lovely little clamshell ends. You just add an extra bead there and put the bead inside the clamshell. So, oh, I should show you what it looks like on. That part's pretty awesome. Look at that. It looks like real jewelry. So that's the part I always start out with gold and silver to see what, especially if it's a new bead, to see what it looks like and to do like a design that everybody uses colored beads in, and then you do it in the gold and silver. It looks like real, like real hammered gold kind of thing. So let's put this aside and let's get started. I'm just going to show you the beginning and a little bit like this, a sample, so you can get an idea. So this one's already starting to curve. So that's the other thing I should tell you with this design is it may not look like it's curving yet, but trust me, it's very slight at the beginning. Once you get about 10 to 15 rows in, you really start to see this happening as well as the curve to go around your wrist. So I am using the new JohnBead Cylin bead. This is orange silver lined. Oh my God, look at how beautiful it is. These colors, if you're not sure about testing out these beads and buying like different colors, I would highly recommend the gold and the silver. The silver is called Metalux silver. They do have a bunch of different golds. So there's like a gold line. Let me grab that one here. Gold lined. Really beautiful. I used to buy gold line cylinder beads before that were super expensive, and I used to buy them because they were the cheapest of their expensive beads. And I would use them in substitute for the gold ones, but you can see they're just gorgeous next to these silver lined. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to need some scissors. You're going to need some thread. I would recommend using whatever thread you're comfortable with, but it has to be strong, and it has to be thin. So I'm going to use this Miyuki thread. On this one, I use the Miyuki thread. And on this one here, I used Fireline. Now, on other flat chenille and the cubed one like this, let me see. Now that one I used Fireline. You can use just John Bead good thread. It works. I would highly recommend you color the thread first. Use my trick with a Sharpie marker on how to color your John Bead good thread. Let me see. This stuff here you can get super cheap on at Michael's or on Amazon. And I have not had any problems with it. It's amazing. So let's grab that. I'm going to grab a wingspan. You're probably going to end up, it's hard to say, bracelet my size. I have under a 6-inch wrist. I think I used six to 8 wingspans. So it does use a lot of thread. And I'm using my size 12 needle. That you're going to need a stop bead. And you're going to put a tail that long enough to maybe do one row. And I mean one row is just this amount. So it's not actually a lot, maybe that amount of thread. And enough to attach your clasp. So you really don't need a lot, maybe 10, 12 inches. So let's get my stop bead here. I'm going to use a pink because I can. Stop bead. And let me adjust the camera here so you can see my hands. So bring that down to a bit there. And then go back up your stop bead like that to attach it. There, you're set. So you're going to start by adding 5 units. And I'm going to explain to you what 5 units is. 5 units is a cylinder bead. Let's enlarge this. A round bead. So these are both 11-0 beads, remember? And then a cylinder bead. So that's which one set is. So we're doing 5 of those. So let's go cylinder, round, cylinder. That's 2. Cylinder, round, cylinder. 3. Cylinder, round, cylinder. 4. Cylinder, round, cylinder is 5, and that's what you have. Okay, you're going to put that, draw that down to your stop bead. That. So the next row we're going to do this will be a cylinder row, so we're always adding cylinders and we're always going through round beads. So we're kind of copying what's in the row before it. So here there's 1 cylinder bead. So we're going to add the 1 cylinder bead. you're going to go down through the round bead and just the round bead. Like that. The little finicky on the first row because you're having to hold your work that you're actually going through. So it's okay. So that's what it should look like. It's going to sit beside the other bead. So now we need 2 cylinders or 2 Cylin beads. Go through the round from the top down. I kind of like, I feel like this is like peyote stitch. Pick up 2 Cylin beads. Go down through the next round bead. Pick up 2 Cylin beads. Go through the next round bead. Pick up 2 Cylin. Go through the next round bead. That. Pick up. Okay, we're at the end. So we went through that round bead. We just need 1 cylinder bead. And because we have nothing to attach our thread through, we're going to make a loop. So we're going to go down through that single Cylin bead. Don't let this happen. That's the problem. I saw a video from Sabine. She does videos too, and she just did a video on when you get your thread and it's on small spools, it's all like round like this, right? It's annoying. So you're going to pick up 1 cylinder bead. You're going to go through that round bead, but you're also going to go through the very next cylinder bead. And you're going to end up in between the set of 2, and that's what we're going to do for the whole time on this row. So you have all your little sets of 2 Cylin beads, and we're going to put a round bead in between each of them. So we're going to put a bead in there, go through the next cylinder and grab onto the next cylinder, but you're always going to skip that lower round bead. And what'll happen is your thread will pull these beads together, and that's what causes that curved effect. So pick up a round bead, go through your Cylin bead that's left in that set of 2. This is really hard to do on camera. Sorry. Okay, go through the cylinder, skip that lower round bead, and go through the next cylinder. Okay. Round bead. Go through the 2 cylinders, bypassing that round bead from the lower row. And you're going to make sure that you pull your thread so that those beads pop and really open up that shape, like a triangle shape. So your next round bead, coming out of this first Cylin bead, you're going to go through the second Cylin. You're going to skip that lower round bead, and you're going to scoop up that first in the next set of 2. Pull your thread and pull it tight so it pops it open. Pick up a round bead. Now you're going to go through the next 2 Cylin beads. Sometimes the end one's a little hard to get through, just the way the beads sit. So you can do it in 2 steps if you need to. And pull it tight. There you go. So now you're ready for the next row. So the next row is just adding the sets of 2 Cylin beads. There's 2. Go down through the round bead. That. Let me pull some of these out. 2. Go down through the next round bead. Pick up 2 Cylin. Go down through the next round bead. Pick up 2 Cylin, 11 O's. Go through the next round. And watch you don't get hooked there. Okay, so now we're at the end. There's 2 Cylin beads here. I'm trying to, yeah. So once we put the 2 Cylin beads here, we're going to be coming around and we're going to add the middle bead, but you can't do that if you go straight. Like if you add them now and go through these, you'll end up over here. And I point that out because I couldn't do flat chenille in the past, and part of it was confusing at this point. So the best way to remember is when you get to the end, if you just have a single bead or just those 2 beads and nowhere to attach your thread, go through your beads first. Go through them, add your beads, and come back around. Now you're at the beginning. So I'll show you what that looks like. So we're just going to go through just the cylinder beads. Let's see if we can get through them. No, you have to do it in 2 steps on this because that bead is on an angle right now. So you're going to go through the 2 last cylinder beads. This is the curled threads. That's annoying. I'll have to figure out a way to flatten them. Okay, so now we're going to add 2 cylinders, but we're going to go back through the first 2 here so that we can attach those on their own. I'm going to go through that last bead that I couldn't get on the first pass. So now we are at the beginning of the row. So that's just my trick to deal with that issue. So now we're going to go through separating the 2 cylinder beads, pick up a round bead, go through the next cylinder and the following one in the next set. That. We're going to keep adding a round bead in between the 2 cylinder beads. So we're going to scoop up that first cylinder. We're going to go past that round bead from the row below and then go through the next cylinder bead like that. And you're always going to pull these snug because that's what creates some of the tension too, to make the curve. And you also want those round beads to pop in between these 2 cylinder beads. So we'll grab a round bead, go through the next 2 cylinder beads like that. Pop it in there, grab a round bead, go through the next 2 cylinder beads like that. Pick up a round bead, you're going to go through the single bead. That's all there is left on that end. So now we're going to do the other row. I'm just going to flip it to make it so you can see a little better, like that. So there's just that one cylinder bead here. So we're going to add a cylinder bead. Then go through the round bead. And then we're going to add 2 cylinder beads to the rest of those round beads. So 2 cylinder beads or Cylin beads. Pick up 2 Cylin. Pick up 2 Cylin beads. Go through the next round. Pick up 2 Cylin. Go through the next round. And I'm going to go through the first cylinder bead on that side because I want to go through this bead. If I go through this way, it's not going to, I mean, you could still go through it, but make it simple. Just always go through what's left on the other end. It doesn't look like there's a knot in that thread. I'm not having much luck with this thread. So now I'll just flip it so you can get a better look here. Pick up a cylinder bead, then go through the round bead and the cylinder bead, the first one that's part of the set of 2. Just to remember, I added a cylinder bead on this side. So I'm kind of mirroring what's there. So you should always have 1 bead on this side and on each side of that round bead. Okay, so now we're going to put our round beads again. So one row is basically adding the cylinder beads. The next row is adding your round bead in between the sets of 2 cylinder beads. So we'll go through here, skipping the, oh, that went through both of them. Skipping the lower round bead and just grabbing onto the 2 Cylin beads. And you want to make sure you pull it tight. That's what causes that curve. If you don't want a thick or pronounced curve, then you can loosen your tension. Put that in there. Pick up a round 11/0 check bead. So if you use a different type of bead, if you use a Toho, this won't work. Trust me, I've tried it. It won't curve. The Tohos, and it might be difficult to do anyway because Tohos are little tubular. So the reason this works is the bead is round, so it's only on the lower part of the bead that it's opening the 2 Cylin beads. But if you had a Toho there, it would really spread it out. Go through the next. This one, you can sometimes move the beads with your nail. So you can get in there like that. And then go through the next bead there. There. Okay. Now we're going to flip it. And we're going to add our Cylin beads to this row. So you can kind of tell, you see these sticking up. Well, I know I have to add stuff in between these. So 2 Cylin, 2 11/0 Cylin, orange silver lined, in case you're wondering. that. 2 Cylin. 2 Cylin. Now I am going to go through the Cylins on the other side. I might be able to get it through there. Yeah, I bent my needle, but so do it in 2 steps if it's like that. Again, not a big deal because that's what causes this arch. So you probably will end up with a bent needle. So this, as you start going too, when you add your row of Cylin beads, you want to kind of pull. You don't see it as much at the beginning. When you start doing, when you get some length to it and you pull those Cylins in place, well, there, you just saw it kind of lined up here. Let's do it again. See how it kind of moves them. That's great. Okay. So the next row we need to add so this is the tricky row. So we need to add 2 Cylins because all we did was we went through them. So we should always be adding and going through beads. So we just went through them. We didn't actually add anything right here. So we need to add our 2, go back through those last 2 Cylin beads. If I can get that in there. I'll do it in 2 steps. This is the beads really angled down, which is not a big deal. It's like that. Go through this last one like that, and then you're set. Flip it over there, and now we're going to add our middle bead. So we're going to go through the first Cylin, pick up a round bead, go through the next 2 Cylins like that, pick up a round bead, go through the next 2 Cylins, skipping that lower round bead. You can see these guys are starting to look. I don't know if you can see that. Starting to poke. I get excited when it starts to round like that because I did it the first time and I wasn't really like, it was an accident, so I didn't know what was happening. And when it started rounding like this, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is a good idea. So I didn't notice. So then I tried to recreate it. And of course, the first 10 rows were flat. And I'm like, this isn't it. It's not working. And I'm like, well, let me keep trying. And I got to about the 15th row. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I can see the curve now. So just hang in there. This is really difficult to do in a video, like with camera and stuff like that. So this is a lot easier to do when you're doing it by yourself, sitting on the couch kind of thing. So we'll do one more row and you can get started. Anytime I wear that bracelet, people ask me about it. It's amazing. Okay, so let's flip it. So you see it is kind of getting curved here. Okay, so we're going to add our first Cylin on this side. Then we'll add 2 and continue to add 2 to each round bead. Like that. So big thank you to John Bead for doing this. This is amazing. If you think of it, they're creating a bead for us that's affordable and beautiful at the same time. And there's I can't believe 288 colors. So you know how I was saying, when you're buying beads, if you want to test these out, go for the metallics. But I'll tell you, you're going to have a hard time picking, because there's 40 colors of the glow in the dark. And guess what? They don't just glow in the dark. They change colors. I was like, what? So some of them will be pink, purple, green, that kind of thing, right? But I can't remember which one it was. If you're curious and you don't feel like searching, I'll look it up for you, because I'm definitely getting me some of those. But it changes total color. So you have a bracelet that's blue, and then you're somewhere where you're going to be under a blue light or something like that, or in the dark, and it's a totally different color. So it's so cool. So I'll put all the links in the description for the craft shop on Amazon, both Canada and US. They have a lot of stock and a lot of colors. And I'll put the links for the original the curved flat chenille bracelet design. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be doing all kinds of designs. I already made some skull earrings for Halloween. So I have that in a video with other beads. I'm going to redo it. So stay tuned. In the next couple of days, I'll redo it. And yeah, those are so fast and fun to do. And there you go. There's the my lovelies, my new lovelies. And let's take a look here at all these goodies. This and this. There you go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.